All right, let's dive in, shall we? Today, it's all about the red pill.
Ooh, interesting choice.
Yeah, and this article, it's not just some, surface level stuff.
Hmm.
This is written by J. Christopher Hamilton III. Seriously.
The third, huh?
The guy's a lawyer, a producer,
Okay, okay.
professor at Syracuse University. But here's the kicker he's worked with, like Paramount, Disney, Warner Bros.
Wow, so he's been in the trenches.
Yeah, so this is like straight from Hollywood wisdom.
I'm intrigued. What's he saying?
So he uses the Matrix as like this metaphor
Okay, I can see that. Yeah, all right.
for what it's really like to build a career, in Hollywood.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
And he's basically saying, hey, take this red pill
Mm-hmm.
and get ready to see things as they really are.
No sugarcoating, huh?
None. Which I think is what we need, honestly.
Agreed. Sometimes you just need that dose of reality.
Exactly. The unvarnished truth.
And that's what this deep dive is all about.
Totally. We're going to unpack the challenges.
Right.
But more importantly, I think, give you the tools
Yes.
to not just survive, but to totally thrive.
That's the goal.
Yeah. So one of the most fascinating points he makes
Okay, what's that?
is that your biggest obstacles, they aren't, those other actors going for the same role.
Right, right.
Or even those big breaks everyone's chasing.
It's something else.
It's deeper than that.
Okay.
It's about conquering the enemy within.
Ooh, I like that.
The self-doubt, the fear, the anxiety.
Those voices, yeah, they can be tough.
Tell me about it. They can be so loud.
They really can.
But I love how he emphasizes that. Like step one
Yeah.
is recognizing those internal roadblocks.
Absolutely. You have to see them to beat them.
Like,
right?
yeah, shining a light on them, being like, nope, not today.
Not today.
Not controlling me anymore.
Taking back the power.
That's it.
And what's really cool is he's really honest about, his own struggles.
Yeah, he puts himself out there.
He talks about entering, the corporate world and just feeling completely unprepared.
Oh, I can relate to that feeling.
Imagine, high-pressure deals, crazy deadlines,
Oh, God.
demanding bosses, and then on top of all that, you're dealing with your own insecurities.
That's a recipe for disaster.
It can be, and it's like that scene in The Matrix where Neo wakes up and the whole world he thought he knew, it's gone.
Like shattered.
Yeah, shattered. It can be, overwhelming to face that,
Really overwhelming.
And what really resonated with me was his realization that sometimes to really grow, in your career,
Yeah.
you might need to create some distance from people who are holding you back.
Whoa, that's a tough one. You mean even people you're close to?
He doesn't say to abandon them completely, but it's more about recognizing that sometimes growth means finding new relationships, new support systems.
I see. Yeah, that makes sense.
People who align with your ambitions, the things you want to achieve.
Because the people around you can either lift you up
Exactly.
or drag you down, right?
Absolutely.
And what really hit home for me?
What's that?
The whole imposter syndrome thing.
Yeah, that's a big one.
I mean, who hasn't felt like a total fraud
Yeah.
in this industry, especially surrounded by so much talent?
It's more common than you think, and especially in Hollywood.
Yeah.
The stakes are so high.
Right.
And he actually points out 70% of people experience it at some point.
Wow. That's a lot of people.
It is, and for women in executive positions, it's even higher, 75%.
Seriously. That's most of us.
It's crazy, right?
But why?
Yeah.
Why do we feel this way, especially when, we've achieved so much?
That's the million-dollar question.
Yeah, in this deep dive, I think it's all about helping you get to the root of those insecurities,
Absolutely. Identify them, understand them.
so you can build real confidence, not just a facade.
Real, genuine confidence. That's the key.
Yes, and, one of the biggest culprits he points to,
Let me guess. Social media.
bingo.
It's everywhere these days.
It's like we're constantly bombarded with these perfect online personas.
And it's so curated, so fake.
Right. And that just fuels the comparison traps. Oh, I'm not as good as them.
Exactly. You're comparing your behind the scenes to everyone else's highlight reel.
It's the highlight reel versus reality, yeah.
Which makes it so easy to feel inadequate.
Even when, logically it's not the full picture.
Exactly. It's all smoke and mirrors.
So how do we, break free from that?
The key is recognizing that what you see online, it's usually carefully constructed.
Okay.
Everyone has struggles. Everyone has insecurities.
Even those who seem like they have it all together.
Even those at the top.
It's no one's perfect.
No one's perfect. Everyone's human.
And speaking of skewed perceptions,
Mm-hmm.
Hamilton also warns about like idolizing successful people
Uh-huh.
based solely on like their public image.
I see, I see.
It's like we're programmed to, accept these hierarchies
Yeah.
based on titles, appearances,
That can totally distort how we see things.
completely. And he brings up some really interesting examples,
Oh, like who?
like Steve Jobs, Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk.
Oh, the big names, the guys everyone wants to be.
Exactly. But what's interesting is what he says about them.
I'm curious now. What's his take?
Well, he reminds us that even these guys, these giants,
Yeah.
they have their flaws, they've made mistakes, had setbacks,
Right.
and sometimes, even done some questionable things.
Oh, okay. So it's not all like sunshine and roses.
Definitely not. And it's not about tearing them down or
No, of course not.
It's more about like gaining a more realistic perspective.
I see. So like humanizing them a bit.
Exactly, because it's easy to forget. Correct.
Totally. You see all the success and you think, oh, they must have it all figured out.
But the truth is no one does.
Right. And realizing that even like the most successful people have their struggles. It can be empowering,
It is. It kind of levels the playing field.
Yeah. Reminds you that we all have the potential.
Even with our imperfections.
Exactly.
So how do we avoid like falling into these traps
Good question.
of perception? I mean, we're bombarded with these narratives of success all the time.
Yeah, and Hamilton introduces this really interesting concept.
Okay.
It's called cultivation theory.
Cultivation theory. Okay.
It explains how, like, the media we consume, it shapes our view of the world.
Okay, I'm listening.
Basically, the more we see something, the more we start to believe it's the norm.
Even if it's not.
Even if it's distorted, yeah.
So, like, if we're always seeing stories about overnight successes,
Yeah.
it can make the reality of Hollywood with all the rejections and setbacks.
It makes it feel even harder.
Yeah, like, why isn't it happening for me?
Exactly, because you're comparing your journey to this unrealistic ideal.
So it's crucial to be, like, critical of the information we consume,
Very critical.
especially about success.
Absolutely. Remember, the media often shows us a very selective version of reality.
It's like those behind the music documentaries, right?
Yes. Where you realize, like, oh, their journey wasn't so glamorous after all.
Yeah, there were struggles, sacrifices.
Exactly. And Hamilton uses this term, the iron price,
The iron price, okay.
to describe, like, the hidden cost of success.
Okay, that's interesting. So, like, relating that to Hollywood?
Well, he's saying that often success comes at a price.
Right.
And in Hollywood, that price might be, I don't know, working in toxic environments.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Compromising your values, maybe sacrificing relationships.
For your career, yeah.
Exactly. So it's not about being ruthless.
No.
It's about being aware of the potential costs.
And making, like, conscious choices.
Yes, about what you're willing to sacrifice.
I see. That makes sense.
And he also talks about, like, maintaining a healthy distance from corporate culture, not getting too caught up in company loyalty.
That's tough, especially when you've, like, poured your heart into something.
It is tough, but he brings up an example, like even during the pandemic. Some companies, they were making record profits,
Right.
but they were also laying off thousands of employees.
Wow, that's harsh.
It is, but it shows you're ultimately replaceable.
No matter what you've contributed.
No matter what.
So knowing your worth, prioritizing your own well-being.
That's essential.
And
And this leads to another idea he talks about, social Darwinism in the workplace.
social Darwinism. Okay, I'm not familiar with that.
Basically, it's the idea that those who are most adaptable, not necessarily the most talented, they're the ones who thrive.
So it's not just about talent. It's about, like,
It's about navigating the game.
the unwritten rules, the power dynamic.
Exactly. And he's not saying you have to be cutthroat,
No.
but it's about being aware of your environment.
And learning how to play the game.
Effectively, yes.
It's like staying true to yourself, but also being savvy.
Yeah, it's a balance.
And this is where I feel like his message shifts
Oh, how so?
from, like, the harsh truths to something more empowering.
Okay, tell me more.
He reminds you that despite all the challenges, the illusions, you have unique talents, strengths,
Everyone does.
and those are what make you valuable.
Absolutely. Those are your superpowers.
Yeah, and it's about, like, learning how to use them.
Exactly. He encourages you to, identify your passions, what you excel at.
Even if others see them as weaknesses.
Because those are the things that will set you apart.
In a good way.
In a good way. Yeah, that's your unique edge.
So embracing your individuality, having the courage to be yourself.
Even if it means challenging the norms.
Because ultimately that's what makes you stand out.
And that's what will attract the right opportunities.
So even though we've been talking about some like tough realities,
Yeah.
this deep dive, it's really about empowering you,
Taking control of your career.
recognizing the challenges, but not letting them like define you.
Exactly. It's about using this knowledge to navigate your path strategically.
Making choices that align with your values, your goals.
And most importantly, having the confidence to be your authentic self.
Even in an industry that can feel so pressured to conform.
Because that's what truly makes you shine.
That's where your real power lies.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we've really gone deep here.
Deep down the rabbit hole, right?
Yeah, all these hidden truths about Hollywood, the realities, some of them pretty tough.
But it's about, like, what you do with this knowledge now.
Right, that's the key takeaway.
It's all about taking ownership of your journey.
This deep dive, it's giving you a glimpse behind the curtain. You're not playing the game blindly anymore.
You know, the rules, the power dynamics, the traps.
And that means you can make better choices.
Strategic choices, ones that align with your values, what you really want.
And a big part of that is like remembering what you bring to the table.
Knowing your worth, yeah.
Those superpowers, those talents that set you apart.
Even if they seem like unconventional, different.
Others might call them weaknesses.
Because that's where the magic is,
Yeah.
you know?
Embracing what makes you unique.
Expressing it in your work, that's when you really shine.
Don't be afraid to challenge the norms, to take risks, to be your authentic self.
It's like Hamilton saying, you took the red pill, now what?
Yeah, what are you going to do with this newfound clarity?
Here's something to think about now that you see the Matrix for what it is.
Yeah.
What about your own reality in Hollywood?
What illusions are you holding on to?
What assumptions are you ready to let go of?
Are there beliefs, behaviors that aren't serving you anymore?
Maybe you're idolizing the wrong people, buying into narratives that are holding you back.
It's time to get real with yourself,
But identify those areas where you might be self-sabotaging.
This isn't about being cynical or losing hope, right?
No, it's about empowerment. Taking this knowledge and using it as fuel.
For your creativity, your ambition, your vision.
You're not waiting for permission anymore. You're taking control.
Shaping your own journey, and that's powerful.
You're capable of more than you think.
You have the talent, the drive, and now the awareness.
To navigate this industry on your own terms.
So go out there and make your mark.
The world's waiting to see what you create.
And never forget the power to shape your destiny. It's within you.
It always has been.
That's it for our deep dive into the red pill.
Hope you found it insightful.
Empowering.
Definitely empowering.
Until next time, keep pushing boundaries, questioning the status quo.
And embracing the power of your authentic self.
See you next time.